Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2, and in this part we're going to be creating kind of like a shell on top of this model, okay? So we're going to grab this main bit and go to face mode and select all these faces. So click on this face, okay, adjust this face and control click here. Now we're going to press W. If you don't see this circle, just press W until you see it, okay? Hold shift and hover over these faces to select them. Make sure you select everything, okay? Don't leave any, unselected faces like this, okay? So hold shift and select. If you select a face that you don't want to have selected, like here, you can hold control and click your mouse and sort of hover over it, and it's going to deselect unwanted faces. And press shift again and select, just keep painting with your mouse pressed. There you go. And double check if you have a good selection, and then press W to get out of this tool, shift D to duplicate it, right mouse button, P selection, and then object mode. And now you have this kind of a shell here on top of this model. So with this shell on top of it, let's go to local mode. So just the shell is selected, okay? Press / to go to local mode. And we're going to kind of model it a bit. So let's drop an edge here, Control R, drop a loop here. Select this bit here, and we're going to go to top view and GX and move it out, okay, like this. Then we're gonna press R and rotate it, okay, like that. And actually a little bit more, kind of like this. There you go. Let's grab this one here. And we could, extend it a bit further here like this. And then grab this one and GG, move it in here. Shift Control B and bevel it. And then we can grab these and sort of, move them here a little bit to create a bit more of a rounded corner. This would be a little bit easier if you had, for example, stuff like Mira Tools. It's a free add-on. You could grab it as well for Blender. It allows you to curve edges really easily, but this will do. That's pretty cool. Now let's grab this edge here. And what I want to do now with this one is I want to bevel it, okay? So let's bevel it outside. And the problem is that when I'm going to go too deep, it's going to interfere with my edge over there, right? So I cannot go too deep, okay? So that's, it's a bit of a problem. So let's not go too deep. Let's just create something like this, okay? And we could technically leave it like this. As you see now, this is good. Here we need to be a bit more careful. Just GG and drop it down a bit, and GG and GG, something like this, so it curves nicely here, okay? And then we're gonna select everything, and then we're gonna go to mesh and symmetrize it, right? And we got something like this. Now if you want to introduce subdivision to it, you can press Ctrl 1 or Ctrl 2, and it's gonna introduce subdivision to this mesh. Now it's subdivided, so it's really cool. And then we can add solidification, so click on solidify. And now solidification goes both ways, okay? You're gonna go either up or down, okay? We're gonna go up, hold shift, and you can go up, but create like a thin shell, not too thick, okay? It cannot be too thick, because remember, this thing has to fly, kind of like a, thin layer of some kind of a metal sheet. And then click on even thickness to make sure that the thickness across this whole model is equal. So if I wanted to cut this now, it's going to be a bit tricky because we have a solidification going on, and we also have a subdivision going on, but we can try. So let's grab a cube and let's move this cube somewhere here, and let's just make it a little bit longer, and let's rotate it like this and bring it somewhere here, okay? And then we're going to go to edge mode and select these two edges, right? Go to top view and Control B, and you can see that it bevels a little bit weirdly because we need to apply scale. So go to object mode, Control A, apply scale, add edge mode, and Control B again. And now it works properly. So let's do that. Okay, let's select everything in edit mode and SYY and scale it a bit like this. Okay, and move it somewhere here. And then we can select this one, shift, select the scale, the shell, and control minus with bool tools. Okay, and we're gonna have a boolean going on. We can grab this cutter and we can technically, actually let's make it a bit bigger and move it somewhere here like this, rotate it, there we go. This should do. Now here in the front we could have some cuts as well. Also we could have some cuts on the sides. So technically we could shift D this cube and R, hold control and rotate it 180 degrees. So we're using the other side of it and move it somewhere here, and we could actually slash this. So select the cube, shift, select the object and control minus, and you're gonna get this kind of a, you know, result. And we could scale this, move it somewhere here, rotate it and create some really interesting, you know, cut in here. It's gonna be a little bit more, well, less organic, more sci-fi. Okay, and let's move these cubes to cutters. Okay, so we're gonna create a new collection. So select this cutter, shift, select this cutter, press M, new collection, and cutters, and you know, move them to cutters. So now if I'm gonna press a shift 2, I can turn them on and off. Okay, so I can collapse these modifiers. If you're wondering what this modifier is, actually forgot to tell you to enable it. If you go to preferences, okay, add-ons, and you type modifiers, it's the interface modifier tools. It's really useful. It's also a Blender add-on, and it allows you to, you know, sort of, for example, disable viewport disability of visibility of some modifiers, apply all, delete all, toggle stack, you know, etc. So you can open it, close it, really convenient. So what I want to add here is a mirror. So let's go to mirror, and I want to mirror it across x-axis, and let's bisect it and across, right? So then now it's bisected. Let's see how it's looking. Yeah, we're looking pretty cool. Now here on this corner, I think I'm just gonna do this a bit differently. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move these modifiers to the top. You can drag them by these dots. We can apply both. Okay, so we can go here and apply them. You need to move them on the top, otherwise if you apply them when they're somewhere in the middle, it might have some not very desirable effects. I'm thinking about removing this vert here, so I can select the vert, shift select this one, press 1 to combine it, and then GG and kind of move it in here. So this corner here is going to be a little bit more roundish, which I think looks pretty dope. And it's kind of, you know, slightly moved backwards. We need to clean up this mess here. So let's go to local view. And what you can do now is you can disable the solidification in edit mode. So you're gonna have it in object mode, but not in edit mode, by simply clicking this icon here, and it's gonna allow us to clean it. So select this, shift select this, 1 with machine tools, and 1. You also can press 3 to clean unnecessary geo, but this will not work that well for us here. We don't have to curve these because, you know, they are being curved by sub D, but we could create a loop here and connect these. Okay, and create another loop here and connect these, and create another loop here and connect these. Okay, in fact this one is not really needed. We can remove this whole loop, to be honest. So there you go. We need one more loop here to connect this. Okay, J, boom, and the rest is just all quads. Now this one got a little bit messy, so we need to fix that. Also there is a double vert in here which we need to fix. There we go. So here, if you want to make this a bit more squarish, what you can do is add another loop here and move it to the edge, and then another loop here and move it to the edge, and then another loop here and move it to the edge, and it's going to be a little bit more, you see, sort of squarish, but it's still nice and flowy. I'm not sure if I like this bit here to be so straight, but we can create some cuts inside of this mesh. So here, so what we can do is run loops here, but before we do that, we need to make sure that all these are quads. So a loop here, Control R, and connect these two, J, and then our loop should go through. It still doesn't go through, which means we still have some n-gons. So we need to check that out. There's an n-gon in here, there's an n-gon in here, and here, and here. This is after booleans, guys, okay? So you need to, you know, fix these. And now I think you should, there you go, loop goes through, which means all of them are quads. So Control R, and let's drop a loop here. And in fact, we can introduce more loops in here, that many. This will go into straight this corner a bit, but what we can do is we can just move them, GG, you know, GG, and kind of round it up a little bit, okay? And then what we can do is we can create some shapes in here. So we could simply, you know, select, for example, this, and we can insert it just to create like a, you know, separation loop. And we could dissolve as, and we could delete faces, okay, to create an opening here. This could be a little bit bigger, to be honest. So we could select all these, and maybe select all these here, and then insert them, and delete faces. And we got, you know, these kind of two openings in our shell, and they look pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Let's go back to our view and see what we have. It looks pretty nice. I like it. So now here what I want to do is I want to split this mesh here somewhere in the front to create several segments. So I'm going to grab a cube, and I'm going to rotate it so it kind of matches. You can hold Control so it matches more or less this angle. Make it larger, and SX, scale it, Control A, apply scale. Now what we need to do is smooth it, and we need to apply auto smooth to our cutters. Otherwise, you know, we might have some problems. And I'm going to slash it. So select this cube, select this one, and Control / on your numpad. And this will slash this piece off. Here what I want to do is apply the boolean, but you can see that if I click here, I can't because it's grayed out. The reason for that is because there's a linked data between these two objects because of the slice boolean. So what you need to do is go here and click on this linked data tab to clean it, and then go back, and then you can see that you can apply a bool. So once you apply a bool, this is a separate object now, right? So let's go to edit mode, and let's go here and insert a loop here so it's gonna be a bit more straight. And then we need to fix this. Let's run a knife across this shape like this, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to press K, we're gonna press C to cut through, run a knife like this, okay, click and space, and it's gonna cut through the mesh, you see. Then what we can do, we can remove this edge here, which is a bit unfortunate, right? And then we need to combine these two so we have quads, okay? And once you do that, you can run a loop across this mesh here, and another one here if you want to, so you know, here close, right? And to make this edge here a bit more straight. So now if you look at this, we have a really nice cut here. So press M with a cutter and go to cutters, and this is a nice separation. I like that. Same here, we can apply the boolean. So move this boolean to the top, which is going to create this corner. Now we're going to apply the boolean, but again, apply the boolean, and you know, we need to fix this the edges a bit, right, because it's a bit of a mess. So what we're going to do is select again knife, press C to cut through, and cut like this, and then space, and we're going to remove this, okay? So dissolve, and we're going to remove this. But before we do that, we're going to actually do something like this here. Then we can remove these edges. We can also remove these edges. And once we do that, and we combine all these with machine tools and combine this with J, Then we can run another edge here with a knife, so we have a quad. And then we can run another edge here to fix this corner. And there you go. Now on top of this, we could introduce bevel, but we can do it later, okay? And I'm gonna be creating similar separation somewhere here. So we could grab our cutters, Shift 2, Shift D, this cutter here, rotate it like this, make it larger, move it somewhere here. And I'm going to cut this mesh like this, I think, or even like this. Yeah, here, and Ctrl//, and then Shift D, move it in here, select this one and Ctrl//. And this is gonna slice this mesh here. So then Shift 2, let's just grab these two and move them to collection. Shift 2 to remove the cutters, perfect. What I want to do is I want to create larger solidification on these and smaller on these. They're gonna have kind of like a gradation here. So if I'm gonna increase the solidification here a little bit, so I'm gonna drop the I'm gonna pump the thickness a bit higher to let's say 0. Let's go to 40, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. So solidification 40, right? You see these gonna be popping out now because they're thinner. So here I could go and go, for example, 30, right? So this one could be 20. So boom, and you got this kind of effect, which is really cool, right? Kind of like a scaling or something. Alright guys, that's it for this one. I think in next one we're gonna be actually creating some basic connections for these rotors, some kind of a mechanism here, and for the back one as well, because we need that. And we will think what to do with the back here. I think in the back, to be honest, we could just introduce a bit of a chamfer like this. So, you know, select both, press F, yeah, and chamfer this a little bit, maybe. That's actually interesting. Yeah, I like that. We don't need this edge in the bottom here, so we can remove it. So Alt click that and, you know, dissolve. We don't need it. And you know, this will do for now. And what we could do is introduce some bevel here later on, so it's going to be a little bit more smooth. So let's go here to bevel. Okay. And you can see that it's a mess. Let's go to local view. So let's just select this one, go to local view. And let's first of all introduce 3 segments, and then let's change here amount. Actually, amount is okay. But what we need to do is go to geometry and change miter from sharp to arc. It's going to look a bit better. And we're of course going to need weighted normals with the bevel. So we're going to go here and introduce weighted normals. Okay, so here it's going to fix the shading a little bit. It's going to look a bit more, you know, tucked in. And it's pretty cool. I like it. So you're just going to read a bit better and gives us a bit more, you know, a bit more interesting feedback on the shape. Alright guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I catch you on the next one.